I choose people whose lives are shrouded in mystery and they've climbed the greasy pole. They want to be famous, they want to be influential, they want to be powerful.
Prince Harry will not make Meghan Markle a billionaire. She wants to be a billionaire. So who will? A new man. At some point, if it's offered up, it might happen. That is why she is constantly meeting new billionaires.
They want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know.
She will take her royal kids, who can still go by prince and princess, and find the billionaire.
Tom Bower didn't simply expose Meghan Markle. He took apart her entire narrative piece by piece. For years, the public was led to believe she was a modern Diana, compassionate, silenced, and misunderstood. But Bower's latest revelations cut through that image like a spotlight slicing through smoke. What he uncovered wasn't a tragedy, it was a strategy. Suddenly, every move, every tear, and every headline appears carefully calculated.
But in the end, nothing beats the truth, the real fact. So when Meghan came along into the scene, I just thought, this is fascinating. How is this going to play out?
She called it a love story. He calls it a performance. Because behind the speeches about kindness and authenticity lies an actress who mastered the art of rehearsed sincerity until the script finally collapsed. The woman who claimed to fight for truth built her narrative on contradictions. She preached equality while trademarking a royal child's nickname. She sold independence while living off the very crown she condemned. She weaponized victimhood, and now the receipts are public. Tonight isn't about rumors or tabloids. It's about documents, witnesses, and timelines, things that don't lie, even when she does. This isn't a fall from grace. It's the end of an illusion. And once you see how deep Tom Bower's findings cut, you'll understand why Meghan Markle's carefully manufactured empire isn't collapsing accidentally. It's burning from the inside out.
And that ridiculous story about how they first met, the whole thing was a tissue of inaccuracies, to be polite. That she arrived in London, full career, single girl, wasn't interested. Of course, she'd been coming to London since 2013, hunting for a man to marry. She wanted an Englishman. She was on a man hunt. And she wanted wealth and she wanted fame. And she targeted, there's no doubt she targeted Harry.
London, 2025. The palace halls are quieter now, but the whispers never faded. At the center of those whispers stands Tom Bower, the man who turned royal mythology into documented fact. He's not a gossip writer. He's the biographer world leaders fear to challenge. His work is built on cross-checked records, archives, and sworn statements. That's why, despite years of threats, Harry and Meghan have never dared to sue him. His latest investigation reads like a forensic autopsy of Meghan's public persona, a timeline bleeding through every contradiction she tried to bury. From Toronto film sets to Montecito mansions, one pattern repeats: a woman reinventing herself every time the truth gets too close.
Meghan Markle plans to leave Prince Harry to become a billionaire.
Harry, being a simple soul, has easily changed to suit Meghan's agenda.
Former aides describe charm that snaps into fury within seconds. Producers recall deals that vanished once the spotlight shifted away. Even royal staff, once silenced by NDAs, now confirm what insiders whispered all along. The truth Meghan told on camera was a character she perfected offstage. Every document, every witness, points to a single conclusion: the brand was the goal, and the marriage was the vehicle. Bower's widening investigation no longer sounds like the story of a misunderstood duchess. It resembles the blueprint of a calculated takeover. Before the documentaries, lawsuits, Netflix deals, and compassion speeches, there was the carefully edited legend of Meghan Markle. The world was told she was an underdog who overcame the odds, the biracial actress who rose from nothing, married a prince, and challenged an ancient institution. A perfect modern fairy tale. But perfect stories are edited, especially the inconvenient parts.
Why isn't anybody questioning this? Karina Shulia was Jeffrey Epstein's last known girlfriend. She is on record saying that the only times she flew on a plane, went on a yacht, or whatever was with her boyfriend, Jeffrey Epstein. And here we have Rachel Meghan Markle parading on a yacht since 2014, at the very least that these pictures emerged there.
Her public image wasn't accidental, it was engineered. Soft lighting, tearful interviews, curated charity appearances, each moment crafted to whisper the same message. She's the victim, never the villain. But cracks soon appeared. While cameras captured smiles, paperwork revealed another reality. Long before Lilibet became the most controversial baby name in the world, web archives showed Harry and Meghan secured the domain before the Queen even knew of it. A sacred family nickname turned into intellectual property. When the palace corrected their story, the Sussex team denied, threatened, and doubled down. For Bauer, that moment exposed the pattern: emotion first, evidence later. Because behind every emotional plea and every tear-filled headline, there was always a business plan waiting in the shadows. And that was only the beginning. The deeper Bauer searched, the more her timeline fractured. Dates shifted. Stories changed. The self-made survivor began to look more like a self-written myth. Her tale of a struggling, abandoned childhood dissolves under receipts, private schooling, ballet lessons, new cars, and tuition fully paid by the same father she later erased from her narrative.
And this is from a woman who attacks her father mercilessly in the series.
Congratulations.
English award.
Meghan, she loves me. I'm a hero. And suddenly I was thrown out.
The man who filmed her smiling in comfort became a villain only after he stopped fitting her script. Even her famous activism origin story, the soap commercial letter, has no trace in corporate archives. The letter exists only in her retelling. Then came the Oprah interview, the moment suspicion became proof. Bauer cross-checked each claim against official documents and palace records. 17 contradictions, from a secret marriage impossible under Church of England law to the claim Archie was denied a title due to skin color, despite centuries-old rules proving otherwise. When confronted with evidence, she didn't correct, she pivoted. Behind the scenes, the facade cracked further. During the Australia tour, the trip that made her a global star, staff described shouting, slammed doors, and aides in tears. What cameras captured as triumph, insiders remember as chaos. Each contradiction fell like a domino. The illusion wasn't buried, it was simply more profitable than the truth. But Bauer wasn't selling illusion. He was collecting proof. And what he found next revealed something colder than ambition: strategy.
We're being brainwashed by these Hollywood people who think this is the way to make money and, in the end, destroy our monarchy to make their fortune. Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
Right.
The Netflix series is over. There's no great podcast. They don't generate any money. And I don't see where she is going from here. I think she has a major problem.
Each lie served a function. Each contradiction protected a goal: control. The childhood hardship story, the royal martyr narrative, the feminist crusader persona, all manufactured to create sympathy and monetize outrage. By the time the Netflix cameras rolled, the machinery was fully operational. The truth-telling series was already edited while Meghan walked beside the royal family at the Queen's funeral, projecting unity in public while weaponizing grief in private. Then the empire cracked. Spotify canceled. Archewell faded into unread statements. Hollywood stopped returning calls. In an industry built on reinvention, Meghan's brand crossed the line from evolution into manipulation. Even her relaunch, American Riviera Orchard, smelled of desperation, copied ideas, recycled slogans, forced entitlement. Bauer's conclusion is simple and brutal: there is no conspiracy against Meghan Markle. There is only the consequence of her own fabrication. The walls didn't close in because of palace racism or media cruelty. They closed in because the performance ended and the audience finally saw the lights.
The idea that she was Diana was always a fantasy, both of herself and of Harry. And Harry completely misunderstood his mother, who he obviously barely knew, and didn't realize what a manipulative and determined woman she was herself.
Coincidence or calculation? Perhaps she never lied by accident. Perhaps the illusion was the plan. When Bauer traced the final thread, it didn't lead to money or marriage, it led to obsession. Because every major decision Meghan made mirrored someone else, Princess Diana. But where Diana's pain was real, Meghan's became a performance. Side-by-side photos show identical poses, outfits, camera glances, not coincidence, but choreography. Even lines from Diana's interviews resurfaced in Meghan's retellings. She didn't just honor Diana. She tried to become her. Insiders say she even approached Earl Spencer, Diana's brother, asking permission to use the Spencer surname for future branding. He refused instantly. Some legacies cannot be bought, others must never be imitated. The result? A public caught between déjà vu and disbelief, watching a woman repackage Britain's most painful royal tragedy into a sympathy marketing strategy. When the illusion cracked, she accused the audience of betrayal. That is the paradox Bauer exposes. Meghan Markle didn't lose her reputation. She overproduced it. And in trying to relive Diana's legacy, she erased her own.
Actually, when they were also filming for the Netflix series that he asked Charles Spencer, because for some reason Meghan didn't like the surname Mountbatten Windsor. If you remember, in her first lifestyle series with Meghan with Them Forever, she says to Carling that her surname isn't Markle but Sussex. And she was desperate to get it. She said, we never had a proper surname. Of course they did.
Now the world sees the reflection for what it truly is, not a princess reborn, but an actress trapped in her own mirror. And once you realize the mirror was intentional, the tragedy turns into theft. For years, compassion was her favorite crown worn in interviews, engraved into charity slogans. But the emails tell another story. Kindness in public, fury in private. Staff who tried to help were erased. Those who questioned her became toxic, racist, or unstable. Even family became props. Her father, once presented as a hero, became disposable the moment he didn't play along. Her siblings were silenced. Her in-laws weaponized. Every relationship became a storyline until it stopped serving the brand. Even during the Queen's mourning, while she walked with a sympathetic smile, editors in California polished her Netflix criticism of the same family she was honoring in public. Grief became currency, and she spent it generously. As Bauer writes, the mask never slipped. It was replaced. The humanitarian became the victim. The victim became the mogul. The mogul became the preacher of empathy. Each transformation designed to cleanse the last disaster and profit from it.
Meghan Markle knew that, and she manipulated him because of that. Then, when she got everything that she wanted, right?
In the end, her kindness feels rehearsed, her compassion manufactured, and her outrage scripted. When you monetize mercy and trademark trauma, the brand may survive, but the soul does not. Maybe the official story was true, a misunderstood woman crushed by monarchy and betrayed by the press. Maybe. But the evidence doesn't whisper maybe. It screams pattern. Meghan Markle didn't stumble into controversy. She engineered it, marketed it, sold it wrapped in sympathy and sparkle. Tom Bauer didn't destroy her image. He simply turned on the light. And when the spotlight shifted, the backdrop peeled away, revealing not a victim, but an architect. The only real question now is whether she ever believed her own story. Because behind every smile, every charity slogan, every rebrand, one truth echoes. What she called authenticity was always strategy. And this wasn't the final act. What happens next doesn't just expose the illusion, it sets it on fire. When products tied to her lifestyle brand began returning faster than they shipped, the collapse became undeniable. A brand imploding in real time. To watch that unraveling, the exact moment Meghan Markle's glamour collided with public reality, see our previous investigation.